Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the mind of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a truly fascinating figure.
Absolutely. We're looking at his later works, specifically the 1930 book The Edge of the Unknown, or Bilinmianin Kuyusta in the original.
And our mission really is to try and understand this puzzle. How did the man who gave us Sherlock Holmes, the ultimate symbol of logic and deduction,
Right, the master of material evidence.
how did he become this, well, incredibly fervent champion of spiritualism, investigating ghosts?
Yeah, it's quite the shift. We're essentially charting his journey, how he took that same rigorous approach he used for crime and pointed it towards, well, the spirit world.
Doyle himself kind of saw his life in two halves, didn't he?
He did. He felt he started by using logic to solve crimes, but then spent his later years trying to crack what he called the greatest mystery of life, what happens after death.
And he wasn't just accepting things on faith. He treated it like the ultimate cold case. He wanted evidence, witnesses, the whole deal.
So to really grasp the believer, you first have to understand the logician. His background was all medicine, University of Edinburgh. Very grounded in observation.
And a key figure there was Dr. Joseph Bell.
That's the one. Bell was this surgeon, incredibly systematic, precise, almost unnervingly so.
What did he do that was so special?
Well, he used to just blow his students away, Doyle included.
Hmm.
He could apparently deduce a patient's background, their job, where they'd been, even their home region.
Just by looking, before examining them.
Exactly. Just by looking at their hands or their coat, maybe how they walked, pure observation leading to detailed deductions.
Okay, so that's clearly the blueprint for Holmes. Bell diagnoses illness, Holmes diagnoses crime. Same method, different target.
Precisely. And speaking of Holmes, the name itself was kind of a fun combination. First name from a cricketer, last name from Oliver Wendell Holmes, the writer.
And these fictional techniques, they didn't stay fictional for long.
Not at all. Holmes's methods actually started influencing real police work. Things like, making plaster casts of footprints or tire tracks.
Forensic stuff.
Yeah, forensic stuff. Or using psychological pressure on suspects. Doyle popularized these ideas, and detectives started picking them up. They even named a crime lab in Lyon, France, after Conan Doyle.
Wow. Doyle himself even used this thinking outside of writing, didn't he? There's that story.
Oh yeah, the Vanishing Man. A reader wrote to him completely stumped. This guy checks out of a London hotel, disappears. Police had nothing.
And Doyle?
Doyle apparently cracked it almost immediately. He just looked at the facts. Okay, man took all his money, changed clothes, suggests planning. The Scottish Express train left near midnight.
Ah, so he could have checked out late and hopped on the train north.
Exactly. Deduction. He's probably in Glasgow or Edinburgh.
And was he?
He was found in Edinburgh, yep. So this really shows Doyle wasn't just making things up. He had this sharp, deductive mind himself, grounded in observable facts.
Which makes the next part so intriguing. How does that guy, the master of deduction, pivot so hard towards the spirit world?
That's the key point from the sources.
Mm-hmm.
It seems he didn't really abandon his method. He just redirected it, pointed that same observational tool towards things you can't easily see or measure.
So his logic wasn't thrown out. He was using it to investigate ghosts.
That seems to be the idea. He was trying to find the rules, the patterns. He called it establishing ghost law, like laws of physics, but for the spirit world, based on eyewitness accounts, repeatable phenomena, or what he saw as such.
And he wasn't quiet about it. He wrote a lot.
Oh, extensively. Books like The New Revelation and Life After Death came out in 1918. He wasn't just curious. He was, an evangelist for spiritualism.
He even wrote an entire book defending the Cottingley fairies, didn't he? Those photos of little girls with winged sprites.
He did. The only book dedicated solely to that, which, shows real commitment even when facing ridicule.
Did his efforts actually achieve anything in that field?
Well, some argue yes. His constant push to get people to take supernormal phenomena seriously might have, sort of, helped clear the path for later researchers, like Professor J.B. Rhine, the guy often called the father of parapsychology.
So Doyle helped make it slightly less taboo for scientists to even look at this stuff?
You could say that. He certainly raised its profile, for better or worse.
Okay, so the sources also really dig into his relationship with Houdini.
Right, the great Harry Houdini.
Yeah, and it was this weird mix of friendship and, pretty intense disagreement, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Houdini was famous as, the big debunker. The uncompromising enemy of spiritualism, they called him.
Which is kind of funny coming from Mr. Illusion himself.
Exactly. And Doyle points out Houdini was very public about his challenges. He'd offer these huge rewards, right?
They $10,000.
Yeah, like $10,000 in stocks, he'd say,
Right.
to any medium who could actually prove it under his conditions.
What?
But Doyle's take was, Houdini knew he could always find a reason not to pay. Always an out, some technicality, some objection, no matter what happened.
Keep the money safe. So what about that incident in Atlantic City? That sounds wild.
Yeah, 1922. Doyle recounts how his wife, Jean, who apparently practiced automatic writing.
Meaning she'd let a spirit guide her hand to write messages.
That was the claim. Anyway, she supposedly received this very touching message for Houdini, apparently from his dead mother.
How did Houdini react initially?
According to Doyle, he was totally stunned, deeply moved. Doyle quotes him saying something like, "I have been walking on air ever since." It seems like powerful personal proof.
But it didn't stick.
Yeah. Nope. He rejected it pretty quickly afterwards. The famous reason he gave, the message was written on paper that had a little cross drawn on it. And Houdini said, "My mother was Jewish. She'd never use a cross." So this tiny detail became the reason to dismiss the whole experience.
Interesting. So focusing on a small inconsistency to ignore the bigger picture.
That's how Doyle saw it. And it raises a question, right? Why was Houdini, the guy who escaped impossible situations, so rigid here? Doyle suggested that when Houdini saw things he couldn't explain, like the medium DD home supposedly levitating.
He didn't say, it's fake.
No, according to Doyle, Houdini would just say something like, but I know how I do it, as in he knew how he could fake something similar.
So Doyle thought Houdini couldn't accept anything that wasn't based on a trick he understood. If you couldn't see the mechanism, it had to be fraud.
That seems to be Doyle's interpretation. That Houdini's skepticism was limited by his own expertise in deception. Anything beyond that, he just couldn't or wouldn't accept, a kind of intellectual rigidity.
Okay, let's get into the actual evidence Doyle was collecting for his ghost law. The stuff he treated like clues in a case. It gets pretty weird, doesn't it?
It definitely does. The sources kind of break it down into the categories.
Yeah.
First up, physical manifestations. And the big one here is ectoplasma.
Ectoplasm. Right. Sounds like something from Ghostbusters.
Huh, yeah. Doyle really championed the research into it. It was named by Charles Richet, a French physiologist. It's described as this physical substance that mediums supposedly exuded during trances.
What was it like?
Described as viscous, maybe gelatinous, coming out of the medium's body, like Eva C, a famous medium associated with this. And apparently it could do things. Harden, form shapes.
Shapes like what?
Hands, arms.
Even faces. The sources mention one instance where it formed a face that people thought looked like President Wilson, with a mustache.
Okay, that's bizarre. President Wilson's ghostly mustache.
Bizarre, yes. And apparently this stuff was incredibly fragile. Touch it or shine a wrong kind of light on it, and it would snap back instantly, like a hidden octopus, causing the medium great distress.
So what was Doyle's angle on this? How did he analyze it?
He focused on the physical details. Chemical analysis reportedly found calcium chloride and calcium phosphate in samples. And get this, when a bit was burned, witnesses said it smelled like burnt horn.
Burnt horn? That's oddly specific. Why did that matter to Doyle? Because for him, these specific measurable details, the chemicals, the smell, the reaction to light, proved it was a real physical thing, not just imagination or hallucination. Material evidence, he thought, for something non-material.
Right. Collecting data points. Okay, what's category B?
Ghostly traces and hauntings. Here, Doyle kind of built on the ectoplasm idea. He theorized that really strong emotions, like from violence or deep distress, could somehow project a form picture onto the environment, an etheric screen.
Creating like a psychic recording, a residual haunting.
Exactly. The Ramhurst Manor case from 1857 is a classic example he used. This figure, Dame Children, a former resident, was seen over and over by different people. Sometimes, supposedly, her name even appeared in glowing letters on her dress, tied to the location.
Like an echo left behind. What about things that weren't just visual?
Well, then you get the really disturbing stuff, like the moving coffins.
Okay, that sounds inherently creepy.
It is, and seemingly well documented. In a burial vault in Barbados, over several years in the early 1800s, these super heavy lead coffins were repeatedly found just thrown around, piled up, turned over.
But the vault was sealed.
Every time. Sealed, undisturbed on the outside, but chaos inside. And another case in Lithuania, Ahrensburg, a sealed crypt is opened, And one of the bodies inside, the heavy stone lid is slightly moved, and the corpse's arm is sticking out, pointing up.
Okay, that's genuinely unsettling. Doyle saw this as proof of what? Physical force from beyond?
Massive, invisible physical force. Something science, as he knew it, couldn't explain. More data points for his ghost law.
Right. And the final category, category C.
Post-mortem messages. This is more direct communication, supposedly. Claims of messages from famous dead people coming through mediums, often via that automatic writing we mentioned.
Did the messages sound like the people they were supposedly from?
Well, Doyle argued they often did, retain their personality. He cites Oscar Wilde, supposedly communicating with his typical wit. Being dead is the dullest experience I have ever known. Followed by, that is, if you exclude being married or dining with a schoolmaster.
Huh. Okay, that does sound a bit like Wilde. Did these messages ever offer anything useful in a Holmesian sense?
Sometimes, apparently.
Yeah.
That a fascinating instance mentioned regarding Charles Dickens' unfinished novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Oh, right, the ultimate literary cliffhanger.
Exactly. In one seance, a message claiming to be from Dickens himself offered a solution. Edwin lives, and Chris, meaning Chris Barkle, is hiding him, which was apparently a totally new theory to the people involved at the time.
So using psychic means to solve a mystery. That's very Doyle.
It connects right back, doesn't it? He also documented cases where murders were supposedly solved because the location of the body or the killer was revealed in a dream or a vision, like the McPherson case or the famous Red Barn murder.
Psychic detective work. He saw these as more evidence that consciousness and knowledge persists after death and can interact with the living. Hashtag tag outro.
When you look at it all together, what's really striking is just his sheer persistence, his tenacity.
Yeah, applying that same methodical evidence-gathering approach he learned as a doctor and perfected with Holmes, but applying it to, well, to ghosts and ectoplasm, even when it flew in the face of conventional science.
Right. His whole later life seems like this grand attempt to build a framework, this ghost law.
Yeah.
He truly believed these phenomena operated on different principles, different vibrations, as he put it.
He took accounts of things like D.D. Home levitating, supposedly flying out one window and back in another, like 20 feet up. With witnesses, he took that as observable data.
Exactly. Data points for a reality most people dismissed.
It's this incredible duality, isn't it? The creator of the supreme rationalist becoming the champion of the irrational. Or maybe he saw it all as part of the same quest.
Perhaps. It reminds you that skepticism and belief can sometimes spring from the same source. Just this intense curiosity, this relentless drive to figure things out, to find the truth wherever it leads.
Even if it leads to smelling burnt horn or contemplating levitating mediums.
He wasn't afraid to go there, that's for sure, even if the evidence seemed, well, pretty out there. Like President Wilson's ectoplasmic mustache.
So here's a final thought for you to take away from this deep dive. If Doyle was right, even partially, and the key to tapping into this other realm is just about adjusting the frequency, like tuning a radio.
Finding the right receiver.
Yeah. What knowledge, what mysteries might be floating around us right now, completely unseen, unheard, just waiting for us to somehow tune in.